Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Roberto. I stay in Port Elizabeth, South Africa. It's around 12:15 noon time. The weather out there, bit grey. I think probably the weather is deciding must it move from winter to spring. Still making decisions. Maybe the moon and the sun and gravity is all playing a part in changing the seasons. So often one never know how the seasons really come about. We just take it for granted and accept it that it's there. And yes, changes does take place. And I'm very, very certain change is not easy. It has its own challenges, its own ups and downs. But to get to this part or this side of the river, one needs to go through the ups and the downs, or the valleys and the dips, to get where one needs to be. And sometimes it's not easy. But I'd like to carry on with Moses. And how he has been patient with the impatient people. But so obviously now we get to a point where all the supplies they've taken, the food and all that is done, the water's done. And in the desert there are pools of water. Not many, but it's been exposed to the sun, it's stagnant, and so it's not okay to drink. So we read that, the people start murmuring. You know when people murmur, everybody's speaking under each other, but nobody's standing up and say, look, we are thirsty, we run out of water. So they complain. Instead of going to Moses and say, look here, or Aaron go to Moses and tell Moses, hey, brother, let us do something. Let's make a change. People are thirsty. And I think the place was called Mara. So Moses took whatever was growing there in the desert. Maybe he took some plant, maybe he had knowledge, I don't know. And then he threw the plant or whatever it was in the water, and the water became clear and healthy water to drink. But somehow these people don't seem to learn anything. Just a few days back, they crossed the Red Sea by the grace of God. They crossed the Red Sea. So they're on the way through the desert or the wilderness. You must understand, they don't know the wilderness. They were never exposed to the harshness of life. Like so many people. They're always protected, they live in their structures and you name it. But anyway, and now they tell Moses, we are hungry. But somehow those people, they seem to have a sense of arrogance about everything they do. I mean, it's so simple to have just gone to Moses or gone to his brother or wherever you need to go to and say, listen here, I have this problem. What do I need to fix it? What is the process I have to follow to fix it? But then they started murmuring, complaining. And Moses goes again to the Father. The Lord says, not a problem. I'll send you manna, or I believe it's a type of a wafer. It's a type of a wafer. Kind of soft. And when you put it in your mouth, it melts away. I think there was something we have similar in South Africa which they called spookasem. Something sweet, something very soft to put in your mouth. And you can eat a lot of it. And so they ate and they ate. And it was fine. Now the nesting starts again. I don't know, no, sorry. I don't know the people's nature. But everything, there must be meat. I mean, why did I have to ask for meat? Why didn't she, okay, fine, we're tired of eating these wafers. Send something else. You are God, the I am. No, they must have meat. And so God tells Moses, not a problem. Look how clever the Creator is. Look how clever the Creator is. And men think we are smart. At night, he sends them quail. And obviously quail is a bird. So maybe they at a certain time of the day, they flew past and something happened. Or maybe the food came directly from the heavenly throne. I don't know. Uncle Ray. So, yeah, they are given meat. And the strange thing of people, they want something, they get it. And they were told, take only what you need. It makes sense. The Creator, Moses told the people, there will be meat every day. You will eat quail every day. Imagine. And remember, quail is surprisingly, it's very healthy. It's very healthy. The Creator even thought of that as well. The people's health. So they're having quail at night. My point is, if they were in the desert and God sent the food in a day, it would have rot, obviously. So they probably sent it when the sun went to go down, desert is cool, and there was meat. But so often people, we can be so greedy at the wrong times. So yeah, now they told, this is your quota for the day. But you'll find there is that one or two that don't know where the boundaries are. So what happened? You find that's when you're taking extra. Well, there's a lot of meat. You can't be bothered. But the next, you need just to take your quota. And there's a reason behind that. I'll tell you now. So they got a quota. And the one that took extras now, feeling so smucky. He's laughing. No, arrogant people are and can be. It's nothing new. So the guy got extras, probably telling his neighbor, you got 10 kilos, I got 15 kilos. But that fool in for a surprise. Look what happened. If God told them, every person take only 5 kgs of meat or quail, then there's a reason. One needs to listen for that reason. And so happens, the guy that took extra, remember I said, I'll give you an example. God said take 10 kgs, the guy took 15 kgs. Or the person who took 15 kgs. That 5 kgs rot. And he was left only with 10 kgs. So that point tells me already is that so far in the journey is that God is very precise. And He knows exactly what needs to be done. Somehow Moses didn't catch it yet. Moses is also in a learning curve. And you may remember, these people were living in comfort. They might not see it, but now they're in the desert. They must pitch their tents. I mean, there's no bed comfort. You must lay on the sand. And maybe there's days when the sand blow. And you know it's sand, it gets under your feet, it gets in your clothes. Maybe there's mosquitoes, I don't know. But life is very uncomfortable for them. So that is why, whenever there's a problem, they don't seem to have a procedure they follow. They always seem to be complaining about everything. God understands their problems. Yes, He does. God has a solution. But in between these two hands, there's a bridge they have to cross. And instead of finding the way across the bridge, they're always complaining about the circumstances. That's the difference between the rich and the poor. The rich guy will always make a plan to find a way through his financial difficulties. The poor guy, unfortunately, has a poor mindset. So he or she is always complaining, but never take action to find a way to move from nothingness to foundation. That's all. If you've got nothing, just move to a foundation. From the foundation, you move forward. And God realizes about these people, how arrogant they are. I mean, they were complaining about the Egyptians. They said, yes to Moses, take them out of the situation. You take them out of the situation. They're going through a journey, undertaking a journey of transformation. What I don't understand is that if you're in the desert, you have to treat the desert like it is. You cannot tell yourself, if I was at home now, life would have been so comfortable. The desert should have been a challenge for them. Yes, it was. But it was not a place of complaint. But anyway, I'll get to the end result. But when we look at the dynamics, here is Moses. He is walking a close walk with the Creator. Whenever Moses speaks or asks the Father, he receives. And literally, these Israelites are seeing miracles taking place. From the time they left Egypt, crossing the departure of the waters, the Red Sea. 3 days in the desert, Moses throws a leaf into the water, or a plant into the water. The water's fine. Obviously the water is contaminated, and they can't drink it. Moses would know that. But, so now they're complaining. Moses said, fine, I'll change everything. They move further, they're hungry. They get manna. Or there's another word they use, raisin bread. Furthermore, they want meat. An expression they use, the meat pots of Egypt. It's strange how people are. They were oppressed in Egypt. They're getting out of Egypt. A new life is starting. And they say, let us go back being oppressed. Let us go back being slaves. Me, that don't make sense. If I'm given my freedom, I have choices I can make. But if I'm a slave and oppressed, I've got no choice. So now, they're getting their meat supply. No, sorry. They're getting their coal supply daily. They're getting their bread supply daily. And strange enough, it's not mentioned. Nothing happened to their clothes. They never demand for clothes. So it stands to reason that the clothes never worn out. And they never washed their clothes. Well, in the book it's not mentioned. But I assume, because I can only work from what they're complaining about. And so they're moving further. And they come to a point where Moses say, on the 6th day, you must rest. It's a Sabbath. Fine, I don't know where was the first day or the second day. The Bible only mentioned 3 days or 15 days. So I'm working from that number. On the 6th day, they must rest. And there is significance where the 6th day is concerned. Well, in our numbers, I don't know where the 6th day is. Some claim it to be Saturday, some claim it to be Sunday. I won't get into that. I'm not a theologian. But they're told to rest. Now I'm trying to wonder, what are they actually doing in the desert? They eat at night, they meet. In the morning, they're having their raisin bread or manna. But yet there's no activities. They're not fighting, they're not farming. They're on a journey. But somehow, they must rest on the Sabbath. What is the significance? Comes down to one thing. When the Father speaks, man must listen. And we don't, unfortunately. If the Almighty says this must be done, then it must be done. We people, we got a mind of our own. Yes, there are circumstances where people have to work on a Sunday. But even people, when they are off on a Sunday, do they go to the Lord's house? When the Father speaks, we must listen. We as people are stubborn. But sooner or later, we're going to sow what we reap. Furthermore, there was also a discussion. Moses It doesn't come across very strongly. But he is somehow agitated with people. Because there is that one that's going to the desert, or go look for bread, or look for that. When they are told you can do nothing on the 6th day, you're allowed to gather your extra on the 5th day. Have enough for tomorrow. I'm sure if I must eat duck every day and manna every day, I would also say thank God there's one day where I can stop eating meat, stop eating duck, I can stop eating bread, I can drink some water. So Moses even has to get them around to understand, look here, this is the 6th day. It's the Sabbath day, rest. It's a good time to recharge your batteries. It's a good time to sit with the Word. It's a good time to spend with your family. Obviously, the desert is different. I understand that. But when the Lord and the Creator puts down an instruction or a statute or a commandment, it means do. Period. So now they're moving again in the desert. And they seem to have again a water problem. And then, I don't understand, doesn't Moses realize there's a water problem? Or Moses is so occupied thinking, I have to get these people through the wilderness, or through the desert. I think Moses was probably, also probably wished this journey wasn't put on his shoulders. But in life, somebody has to do it. Somebody has to be responsible and take up the role of leadership. Whether you prepare for it, whether you don't want to do it, somebody has to do it. But anyway, Moses had 40 years of experience in the wilderness. But I don't think Moses knew actually how to deal with so many people at one time. Imagine, there's 2 million people and 1 million people complaining there's no water. I feel sorry for Moses, really. He had it tough. It never seems like he could ever rest. Probably that's what the Lord said. On the 6th day, tools down. Take a rest. Get away from the problems. Enjoy the sun or the wind, whatever season there was. So Moses come, and what I understand is that he was so angry that when the Lord said strike the rock, he kind of thought to himself, you know, Lord, must I strike this rock? And it was so, I mean, they were not even a month in the desert yet. But he strikes the rock, eventually, and the water flows. Unfortunately for Moses, that counted against him at the end of the day. And I think it's so unfair, because he was just human. He somewhat just didn't know how to handle this 2 million people. But he did make a plan eventually. But it shows also some of Moses' decision making was not always very well executed. But sometimes he allowed his flesh to run ahead of him. All I had to say, Father, what must I do now? Sit in with this quiet time. Ask the Lord, what is my agenda for the next week? Or, Lord, we are running out of water. Or where do I find fresh water? And the Lord would have told him. But you know, sometimes we human beings, we are stubborn and we want to do our own thing. Yet around us, there's so much people that can help, so much willing hands, and so much free advice. So, I'd like to conclude that refinement comes with a process. It is not easy. Yes, and sometimes a person, you have to let go of the old jacket. And it's not easy, because that old jacket you've come to love. It's part of your skin. Maybe it's got sentimental value. Time for me to close now. But they ate manna and quail for 40 years. I couldn't understand what's the point of this 40 years. Because in Exodus, there's a lot of 40. The number 40 comes up quite a number of times. And usually in the Bible, when something gets repeated, take note. God is talking. Take note. God is talking. Believe you me, I'm 100% sure of this statement I'm making. When a number gets repeated, there's a very, very, very good reason. Sit down, sit, and meditate and think about it. You'll be surprised what will come up. But after 40 years, you never hear them ever getting sick. You never ever hear them talking about their clothes. You never ever hear them getting to a point where the one who said, I don't have, and the other one have. Yes, they were, but not always coming from the desert, because there's wind, there's sun, there's a water problem. I mean, they never knew about the desert. They didn't know what species has water, where to find water, where to dig for water. There was a lack of skills on their part. And the only guy they trusted was Moses. Because basically he somehow understood the wilderness. But after 40 years, for 40 years, they ate manna and duck. Obviously drank water. So what it tells me, food is not a priority. All the Israelites had to put God first and not their problems. Anyway, guys, ladies, wherever you're from, whatever part of the world you are from, I thank you very much for spending this wonderful moments with me. I hope it was rewarding. I hope it was fulfilling. I hope you have a sense of, I needed to hear that. I have to go now. For me, it's my FB Live. This whole week it will be at 12 o'clock. So you can tune in when you have the time. I'd just like to acknowledge and thank you all. I'd just like to say, thank you, Coloraine. Thanks for being here. Thank you, Gregory. It's an honor. Thank you, Alton Oliver in Cape Town. Thanks for making the time. Thank you, Cheryl. My #1 fan, that lady. Oh! Ek spring uit my vel uit. Salagadle. See you tomorrow, same time. Enjoy your day, guys. Don't give the boss a hard time. Pray for him. Bye.